Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. It's Monday morning, and we're back after a beautiful weekend here in East Tennessee, and I hope you all had a wonderful weekend watching the mainstream media tick away at campaigning for the Democratic side for not only the upcoming midterm elections, which are a little bit away from being or taking place, but they're already pushing for the Democratic side, and they're already starting to campaign for 2028, not even having had a primary for people that do vote Democrat to decide which one of these characters that are running and out there running their mouths off right now about the state of affairs of this country, which is being driven by falsehoods and not understanding what exactly is going on in our country and the progress that has been made in a few days short of 100 days. But if you tune in to MSNBC or Rachel Maddow or Morning Jackass, you're going to hear campaign speeches for up-and-coming Democratic possibilities, as they put it, for straightening out the mess that this country is in as a result of the current administration. Boy, oh boy, do they have things backwards. What's happening right now is this administration is going to the furthest degree possible to try and hurry along cleaning up the mess that was left over by the Biden-Harris Obama administration that was ever present and ever a problem with regard to turning against our Constitution and our country and its citizens by allowing over 20 million people to come through an unprotected border, unvetted, and in some cases out of jails, and or terrorists that are coming from other countries overseas that utilize the open pass by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Mayorkas to come on in. And they came in, in numbers that were staggering. But Rachel Maddow, she believes that that she should start to push for more of the same, although in years past you would hear her say one thing, and now in 2025, that no longer applies. How does that work, and how does a network like MSNBC allow this to go on? Well, let's take a listen right here.
Pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Everyone should have free housing. And why shouldn't everyone get free housing? I don't understand why we can't do that.
Nobody's above the law. We only have one system of law for everyone. Nothing about being an elected official gives you a license to commit crimes or a license to get away with it if you do. Why step up politically and defend a judge or a prosecutor? That's supposed to be a non-political part of our system. It's not like we didn't know it was going to be terrible. And it is terrible. He really did have a judge arrested today. Arresting a judge today. You kidding me?
Nobody's above the law.
Well, that's Rachel Maddow, and that is her network that's allowing these lies and propaganda to be put out and acting like it is for the best of mainstream media and your need to know. Your need to know shouldn't be covered up by NBC and the like of them getting involved over the weekend shows with the deportation. They got a hold now of somebody that was deported, and one of their family members, a child, had stage 4 cancer. And this is what NBC is all whipped up about on weekend shows where they had Marco Rubio sitting there that had to explain one more time to fake news NBC the real facts here. When you enter a country illegally, I don't care if it's the United States, Canada, pick a country. You go in there, sneak through their border, and not have the proper paperwork, you're going to end up in a jail somewhere or be deported immediately. These people were allowed to entrench themselves in the cities of their choice and got away with it and were handed every tool possible for them to avoid ICE and avoid prosecution by the sitting courts that are out there, be it what they may. But these courts are as crooked as the day is long with regard to the fact that they are interfering in the executive branch of this government, and everyone is upset about not only these deportations, but we'll get into it in a little bit about, where the scandal of arresting a judge may be. But let's take a look at NBC and being set straight while they continue to mislead us, the citizens of the United States, about what's really taking place with not only deportations, but with judges that believe that they can order the president from the bench of a state that's as far away as Oregon. It's unbelievable what they believe that they can get away with and convince you. And it's not like we didn't sit for 4 years being lied to by the media about Joe Biden and so on. But let's listen to NBC get straightened out here.
Three U.S. citizen children have been deported with their mothers. Now, this is according to the Washington Post. The family's lawyer says one of them is a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, deported without medication or ability to contact doctors. The family's lawyers are also saying their clients were denied communication with family and legal representatives before being deported. And it's raising concerns about the issue of due process, that it's being violated. So let me ask you, is everyone on U.S. soil, citizens and non-citizens, entitled to due process?
Yes, of course. But let me tell you, it looks in immigration standing, the laws are very specific. If you're in this country unlawfully, you have no right to be here and you must be removed. That's what the law says. Somehow over the last 20 years, we've completely lost this notion that somehow or completely adopted this idea that, yes, we have immigration laws, but once you come into our country illegally, it triggers all kinds of rights that can keep you here indefinitely. That's why we were being flooded at the border. And we've ended that. And that's why you don't you see a historically low number of people, not just trying to cross our border, trying to cross the border into Panama, all the way down in the Darien Gap. I mean, it's been a huge help for those countries as well. On the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like, you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane. That's misleading.
Yeah.
That's just not true.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Hell yes.
If someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well, then you have 2 choices. You can say, yes, of course you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. And then your headlines would read, U.S. holding hostage 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old while mother deported.
Bingo.
So the parents make that choice. I imagine those 3 U.S. citizen children have fathers here in the United States. Yeah. They can stay with their father. That's up to their family to decide where the children go. Children go with their parents. Parents decide where their children go. Right. The U.S. deported their mothers who were illegally in America.
Well, Marco let them know exactly what it is. Tom Holman lets them know, but they continue to spread fake news. They have... I don't know if you realize it or not, but they had the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which the president did not attend, and they had to be straightened out there by someone about the massive cover-up that they perpetrated on the population of the United States, telling us every day how sharp and how with it Joe Biden was for the 4 years that we watched him fall down, get lost, walk into bushes, shake hands with ghosts, and so on and so on. They covered it up, and they should be ashamed of themselves, and they were told so. But no, they're going to come right out of there this weekend, go to their respective networks and newspapers, such as What It Is, and already get into other stories that are completely disinformation being given to us, the American population here. It's unbelievable. And now, because Melania and Donald Trump went to the Pope's funeral, they have to find fault with that. Well, he sat in the first row. Well, he came in a blue suit. Well, he wasn't kind to Macron, and he wasn't kind to this one, and he wasn't kind to that one. This is the kind of nonsense that you're going to hear out of Morning Jackass and his commie wife and the rest of the CNN and CNBC and so on, because they have an edict that they have to stick with, and that's to get the Democrats reelected in the midterms. As we started this broadcast to tell you, they are literally campaigning for people like Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Bernie Sanders, and Hakeem Jeffries every day on these networks. They might as well be part of the DNC if they're not already card-carrying members of the DNC. Every one of these fake news individuals has stuck their heads in the guillotine because they are dying on the vine. They're no longer of the power that they used to garner and wield as the mainstream media, legacy media, the New York Times. And it's incredible, the lies and the misinformation and fake news that is embroiled in the total overall fabric of these networks that are out there daily trying to convince you that what you see, you didn't see. Let us tell you what you should be looking at. Let us tell you who the real people are. Let us tell you what color suit you should wear. And the lies and the coup of cropped photos that they're pushing to get their narrative across like he was the only one there in a blue suit, which is untrue because there were a lot of blue suits. There were some white outfits in that crowd because it depends on the country's garb that they come from. No one complained about an Arab being there or a priest from an Orthodox society that wasn't Catholic. These people were there. But did the fake news show that to you? No. Look right here for the proof of it all.
It's a symbol of the people of God who are kind of journeying towards heaven. And so as they come out before the Mass, they're already kind of incarnating that hope and that prayer for Pope Francis.
Tom Yamas there, standing by again in St. Peter's. Tom, let's talk about what we're seeing here. Again, we see President Trump getting ready to take his seat. Who else can we expect to see here?
It's sick.
No, it's just a lie. Everything's a lie. The whole thing is a lie. These people are sick. They're sick. They're bad people.
It's almost sickening what mainstream media and the likes of Joe Scarborough will put out in false information, lie about it, get caught lying, and then lie about the lie that he told that he got caught telling. This is Joe Scarborough. This is his claim to fame, and his wife, Brzezinski, is no damn better. So then you go over to CNN and you get an earful of this same crap, only shaded just slightly different. But the talking points for whatever channel you move to, like Bernie, move through those channels and you hear the exact same words. It seems like every week an edict comes out and it's mass spread among the news channels. These are the words for the week. The words for the week for this week with legacy media and mainstream media is this: let's get the Democrats elected in in the midterms, and let's get it set up even before the primaries for the 2028, because Donald Trump's threatening to run again.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
Well, that's not true. But he's a master troller, and he threw these hats out just to get these people whipped up to show you and I that they're lying to you, that they will do anything they can to not get behind any programs that may be saving this country or may be doing away with your tax burden or the like, and getting the crime and criminals that were illegally here in this country back home where they belong. And let them file the proper paperwork, and let's vet everyone now coming in to make sure that they're not of the criminal element from the country from which they're coming here from. And don't start telling me all about that they need asylum because their lives are not good and they're threatened. This is a problem in their country. This is not a problem for us to be involved in, nor should we be involved in someone else's foreign wars or civil wars that are taking place. There's a civil war taking place right now inside the Democratic Party. We talk about this all the time here on this platform, on Rumble, on Truth Social, you name it, Reddit. You can look every day on X and see the hate and discontent and the pure hatred that comes in the vitriol from these young people on TikTok that are so misinformed, trying to convince you and I that their ideology is being threatened. This is less than 1% of a population when you look at the people that are decrying about their rights are going to be trampled on. Their right for a man to say that he's a woman and go into a young girl's locker room is perfectly okay with these nutcases that need medication. They're mentally ill in some cases, and they're on TikTok trying to convince the rest of our young population that they should go along with their broken ideology that has been questioned now and is being looked at as the problem that it could be if left unchecked. The blue suit scandal aside, there was some happening there. If you watched at all when he pulled Zelensky aside and set him down face to face, and I would love to know or have a lip reader tell me what was being said, because I know, as sure as I'm sitting here, that he told him, we need to get this fixed. So stop throwing a monkey wrench into it. You're not in charge here. You have no cards. So out in the media today, since the weekend meeting there, Putin has decided to go with a ceasefire in May. I think it's, I don't know if it's the 6th or 12th of May. I forget the exact date, but he has made this announcement, and that's a step forward in the progress of getting a cessation to this useless war of property and souls lost for no good reason here whatsoever. So we need to come down off the high horse over there in the Ukraine and in Russia and get to a table and fix this thing and stop the murderous loss of life, loss of property, and so on. So I pray every day that this will come to a peaceful end. I'm sure that our president as well as our cabinet are wishing for the same thing. And we can only hope for the best there. So let's get back to what the mainstream media is screaming about, all of these judges that have been, according to the media, that has said time after time again, no one is above the law. No one is above the law. And no one is above the law, except if you're a judge and you do something to break the law, you're not allowed to be arrested, according to some of the media propagandists out there that are going to try and convince you that these judges who in one case, hid in the courtroom, set the victim while she ushered him out a back door to avoid ICE getting him, which were standing in the lobby with the paperwork to arrest this individual. She lets him go, and then she gets arrested for doing that, and the media is just up in arms over the fact that now they're arresting judges. Well, let me tell you, there's a couple of judges right there in New York that were all part of the lawfare that went on under Joe Biden's administration that should have been arrested for what they've done. And in my view, some of what they pulled off was totally illegal, but yet they're out free. They weren't arrested. Hi, Kaiser. And Kaiser's off the couch and sitting behind me here, and he's looking for a little participation in today's broadcast. But these judges deserve to be arrested. There's no doubt in my mind that what they did was illegal, and they should be prosecuted along with anyone else in this country that breaks the law. When you break the law, you have consequences. And we forgot that for 4 years. And if you want to back up into the Obama administration, it was the same way there. You got away with things because there was no law and order anymore. So unless you were Donald Trump and then you were guilty of everything, even AOC is now campaigning on the fact that he was a convicted felon. We all know AOC, the setup that took place in New York with the illegal trial that took place, and the result of that trial, I don't go by it because everyone now knows it was a rigged deal. So quit. Just quit with the convicted felon crap that you're coming out with. So who's above the law? According to them, anybody that is against the Trump administration is above the law. Take a look here.
If you are a white guy with a beard, I am allowed to call you Josh, Sam, David, Kyle, or Matt, and you are not allowed to correct me. All of those names are synonyms for white guy with beard.
You know what? Fair enough, Ling Ling. Fair enough.
This is not selective prosecution. So there has been a violation here that we know for sure, that this is not somebody who's singled out. Even if you thought that there was a ground for doing this, the judgment call that you thought that this is the case to bring, it tells you everything. Everyone will be treated, as Merrick Garland has said, as equally in this country. This is really a great day.
He completely secured the southern border, right? Lowest record on record number of illegal people crossing the border. On foreign policy, he's getting Europe to pony up for NATO. On China, he is taking on the radical fleecing of the American working class by China. There are massive achievements from these first 100 days. And I hate to break it to you guys, but the base is thrilled.
is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Hard to believe that it continues through our media process, which is so badly tainted and such a propaganda machine that you can no longer really rely on any information being given to you through the TV programs that these media outlets sit in, and the untruth, the shading of the truth, the out-and-out lies to the American population should be brought to the attention of the FCC. Why the FCC is allowing out-and-out lies without any retraction. And when they do retract anything, especially in the newspapers, it's so far back in the column section on page 44 that you'll never see it. It'll probably be in there with all the advertisements from car agencies trying to sell off their overpopulated inventories to you as a result of markdowns due to the bad tariff arrangements. These tariffs haven't hit inventory that's been on the lot since Joe Biden's administration took over. It happened with his electric car mandate, gasoline prices, so on and so on. I'm not going to sit here and explain every nuance of this to you. You know that it's happening. You know you've seen it happen. You know they're lying to you. So stop tuning in. Their ratings are already down. Let's make them even worse. You have this platform. You have this channel. You have many channels right here on YouTube and on Rumble, and we're on both. So tune in and get smart with people that will tell you the truth. Do not believe the people that they're putting up, their pundits, and their Democratic talking heads that they bring on their morning shows to give you an outlook of what your day should look like is almost so depressing that you just don't want to continue with your day. If that's what you're taking in as the only news program that you can get into, then you have a problem. And then that brings us to our final discussion here today in the commentary that I have on our friend. Bernie Sanders was losing it again on the mainstream TV over the weekend with the weekend shows that will tell you that AOC and the oligarchy that was going on with Elon Musk, who has all the money, and it's more money than he needs to have, but it's okay. I have 3 houses, and I have amassed a lot of money, but nowhere near the money that Elon Musk, that bad man, has. This guy and his finger, you would think it would be worn out by now because every word he says has to be punctuated with his fingers. Is he reading it off something that he does this? We don't know, but it's almost a joke with this oligarchy thing that he's running around, and they spent their entire spring break, he and AOC, out on the oligarchy tour. They don't even understand what an oligarch is. And it's plain and obvious that they don't know. We don't have oligarchs in this country. Elon Musk is not an oligarch. Donald Trump is not an oligarch. And if they're worried about how much money that either of these individuals have, they need to realize that both of these people went out and accomplished things to make their money. One guy's a rocket scientist, a car manufacturer, makes quadriplegic walk and make the blind be able to see, and he's working on hearing problems for the deaf. He deserves to make whatever money he has. He's earned it. Donald Trump was a real estate developer and worked for his money, made the money honestly, didn't cheat anyone like the media would like to make you believe, that he just fell into his money. They worked for it. They went out, they got educated, they went out and got a job, and they worked to amass the money. They invented things. They built things. These politicians, such as Bernie Sanders, not only don't understand what an oligarch is, they don't understand what it would be like to go to a job where you worked at something that was beneficial to someone else and made your money that way. He's never held a job other than working in politics, if you want to call that work, and enriching himself through state politics and then governmental politics in the country of the United States. And they're still not happy because someone else has a few dollars more than they were able to amass. So here's Bernie.
Hey, pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
We are living, Kristen, in the richest country in the history of the world. No! And yet you got one person, Mr. Musk, who owns more wealth than the bottom 53% of American households. That is insane. That is oligarchy on steroids. Meanwhile, we have 60% of our workers living paycheck to paycheck. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major nation on earth. And we have over 20% of seniors in America living on $15,000 a year or less. What the American people are saying is that they want, and what our tour was about, is to say that they want an economy that works for all of us, not just for Mr. Musk.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And other billionaires. Now, my concern right now is you have Democrats appropriately, and I'm working with them, talking about Trump's movement toward authoritarianism.
One more time. Well, that's going to bring us to a close for this Monday morning. A lot to unpack here over the weekend. It was kind of a quiet news weekend. There were some things that were happening around with, I guess in Canada, somebody ran through a crowd with an automobile one more time and killed a bunch of people. This is mental illness on parade. And this is, the lunatics are running the asylum in some cases, and especially in these sanctuary cities that we have. You can get away with anything. As long as it's under $1,000, you can shoplift anything you want with no consequences. It's the lunacy on parade all over. It's not just here. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in Canada. It's happening here in the States and probably through Europe as well. They have their own immigration problems to deal with in Europe. Germany has gotten hurt bad for it. And then you look at France, where they have Muslim populations that have taken over entire areas in France that is under Sharia law, and the gendarme will not even go in there to look at a problem because they're not allowed to. And that's what they tried to do here, and it was stopped in this last election thank the Lord for that. But I ask you all, we're looking forward to a great week here. Go into this week being positive in your heart, your mind. Smile at people in the street, even the ones that make you go, whoa. Give them a smile. Be happy, because happiness is infectious. And mental illness is not infectious, but we don't want to aggravate that situation. So if you're a positive person, you will attract positive people. If you want to be negative, then you can hang out with negative people and even become more negative through what I call Trump depression. Why is it that depression has been driven into so many hearts and minds in this country without having the wherewithal to sift through, just buy what the media tells you, and you think that you're an expert on what's happening in foreign relations, in immigration? And by the way, last week there were only 3 people that tried to cross the border. If you remember a year ago at this time, there were over 4,000 to 5,000 people a day trying to get in this country on the regular entry levels, and then another 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 people were coming in illegally through passes that were very dangerous for them to get through, but the cartels were experts at getting them through, and I'm not even quite sure that the cartels weren't part of the DNC at this particular point and juncture in our broken border situation. That's a lot to say, but I ask you all, as I do every day, please pray for this administration, pray for this country, and pray for peace across the world. And it's imminent that we're going to have talks to bring that back. In the Middle East, the Abraham Accords will be alive and well one more time if allowed to get through this without interruption by our left side of our Congress and the left media that has been a propaganda machine for all of the wrong reasons and laws and everything attached to it. So God bless this country. God bless the people that are running it. And be positive. Smile at someone today. And be happy in your heart. And you'll feel so much better for it. And with that, Kaiser and I would like to say, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more commentary and a few giggles here and there. Bye-bye now. God bless.